Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the 8th day of June, 2023. Let me make sure my volume's up here. It can go up a little more, I think. I always forget to do that before I get started. I don't, it's like I remember when we taught martial arts, my husband had this, we had known another instructor from another school who would say, don't take a picture of what you're doing because you keeps repeating it. You take a picture in your mind of it and you focus on what you're not supposed to do as opposed to what you're supposed to do. So that's what that is. I take a picture of it and I can't let the picture go, evidently. Anyway, the strange little things we used to use in karate to explain things to students, but they worked, you know. Anyhow, let's go ahead and take a rune to get us started. We just got notified that we're getting our hay cut this weekend, and so we've got water going, irrigation going, and so we have to go turn off the water to the pasture. So my husband's up there doing that now. So a little excitement this morning. Anyway, this is Gebo. Now, Gebo is the seventh rune of the Elder Futhark. It's comprised of Isa crossed and also Kenaz in all directions expressed outward. Basically, Gebo is the gift. It's the gift of reciprocity. It's balanced energy exchange. It's marriage, partnership. Pretty much anything that involves integration with other people. Now, Rado's the fifth rune of the Elder Futhark, and it too involves integration and movement and harmony with others. But I see that more as it's basically the soul journey, and so it's the integration between higher awareness and ego, really, and how well that integrates from a higher perspective. But Gebo is literally like X marks the spot of where you come together with other people, and how are you going to do that? I mean, is the reciprocity going to be a true gift, or is it going to be something more done with more personal intention, or with an agenda, right? And so this implies that if you're expressing higher awareness outward in all directions, then it's going to be something higher, or should be. So we're going to start out with that. As the beginning of the significators, we'll take two. That'll be the above side and the Geomancy rune that we figure out here by throwing down the four elemental ones. We'll put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. Oh, look at that. Well, we got Vaya. Vaya is one half of the idea of how we get somewhere, essentially. Are we doing it with others, or are we doing it alone? And Vaya would be, as opposed to populace, which is the follower or the crowd, or following along with others. This is the individual path. It's the path. It's the journey you take. It's the way. It's like on The Mandalorian, this is the way. That's my husband's favorite phrase now. This is the way. I'm like, oh, geez. Anyway, we have Vaya. And so the path you take, if you're expressing higher awareness outward in all directions with Gebo, that higher level of interaction and balanced energy exchange with others, that's the path you want to take, essentially. But let's see what the cards have to say. Give us some more details to this. I've already shuffled a little bit, but I'll do a little bit more. Hope everybody's having a good week so far. Again, we're getting our hay cut, so we just found that out a few minutes ago. So it's like, wow, yay. But we still haven't gotten the tomatoes in. We're not sure. There's supposed to be pretty high winds today, and we might do them tonight, though. We'll see. Plus, it's also calling for lightning. For those of you on the East Coast that seem to be getting the kind of smoke that we got back in 2020 here, boy, and for everyone in Canada, I guess a lot of our firefighters are up there helping and more are going, as I read, so that's good. They need it, clearly. But I looked at the fire map of Canada, and there's a ton of them over up above us here, just north of us. So I would expect that we'll start to get some of that smoke in here too. I think if it's here, it's high up and we're not really smelling it, which I don't know if that's good or bad because it's still here. But basically we're in fire season, and this is what happens this time of year, and we usually are stuck in the middle of it. I know last year we had fires to the north and fires to the south, and Oregon was just in the middle of it all, in the convergence. Excuse me. Well, we have a run on wands for the reading. And that's when you talk about wands, you're talking about the fire element. We also have one here for pentacles, which is the earth element. So how the active presence of the fire element impacts your earthly existence, basically your physical reality, with pentacles. But there seems to be a big emphasis here then on opportunity, motivation, creativity. But let's take a look. I think probably we're going to leave them in the order that we're in. Now, this is an interesting card, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute, but this is the Ten of Wands. Here we have, I kind of read this in a couple of different ways. Just kind of depends on the rest of the cards here. But here we have a man carrying 10 staffs. Now, the interesting thing about how the fire element is expressed, I can tell you this based on a personal experience. We cut down some cottonwood trees, small cottonwood trees, up by the main irrigation ditch that actually is the irrigation company's ditch, but it goes through our property. And then we get the water out of it, and then we have our own ditches, right? Well, you wouldn't know, but that's what we do. But anyway, when we cut them down, it's been a while ago. I took the buds off of them, and I made balm of Gilead oil and salve, and I put some in some honey, and that's going to be a little while longer before that's done. But the interesting thing about it is that if you'll note on these staffs, there's still life on them, isn't there? There's still things growing. Well, that's what's happening to all of my every time we drive out of the driveway or come back in, they're right there next to the driveway, and you can see. And I always tell my husband, see, that's the fire element. It continues to grow. It wants to live and all of that. So that's kind of the energy behind all of this. Life in spite of the circumstances, really. That's the fire element. And here you can see them all over these staffs. As he carries them, he's got his head down. You see the dual line of demarcation between where he is here and the home behind that. So he's been out gathering his opportunities, gathering his new potential jobs. If he's say he's a contractor, he's an independent contractor of some kind. He's a one-person shop or whatever, and he goes out and he looks for new opportunities. Now, some people view this as carrying a heavy burden, but I kind of don't, unless again it's really there in the other cards. I look at this with the 10. Again, you see the X, you see Gebo at the top with the 10. And I'll remind you here, you see Gebo at the top with the 10, with the Roman numeral 10. But you also see it here, right? And if you look at it this way and you see a heavier weight on the future, all right, than you do on the past. And so he carries that burden. He has his head down. He knows where he's going. He's heading in the direction of his home. And he's trusting the process. He's trusting this process that he's going to be able to provide for his family. So in a sense, then, with the 10, you have the sense of endings and beginnings. If you take that 10, and I don't know if I have one I've already done here. I don't think so. Let me just do another one. It reminds me of the rune Dagaz, because Dagaz is about endings and beginnings. And it looks like a bow tie. But in this case, it would be, let me see if I can do this. Normally Dagaz is like this. You see the X in the middle, the Gebo in the middle, or the Roman numeral 10. But this means the end of one phase and the beginning of another. All right. And in this case, the way he's holding his Degas moment is kind of skewed, isn't it? And so the idea is that there's a heavier weight on the future, the positive opportunities for the future. And so when you get into a balanced energy exchange with other people, that could then bring you more opportunities and create a new path for you to walk. And I think that that's what in this regard, especially with Gebo and Vaya as the two runes, the above and below side of the runes here, the significators, I think that's what this is saying. So there's a new period beginning, one of opportunity, one of maybe more financial security for your family. For you and your family, building the wealth, in other words, and taking that home to your family, and to say, look, this is what I've been doing, this is what I've got. We have a bright future here because of it. And then you go to another 10, the 10 of Pentacles. And here you see the coins arranged in the Tree of Life from the Kabbalah. And the 10, did I have this? When did I have this? Let me see. Or did we just, oh, no, it was on Monday. So we have another, I need to have this up, don't I? Yeah, we have then a continuation of the passing of a legacy and taking what you've learned from someone else. That could be another thing, that's another form of legacy. But here you see the passage. You see the older man here, could be a king, maybe not, but we'll just say the older man and his family here. You see the dad, the wife, and the child way over here. You see the two dogs here. You see the archway. You see the coat of arms. You see the balance here with the checkerboard. And you see the home or the village, but it's probably the home beyond that archway. But in the sense of going under that archway, you're going into new experiences in the same way you're doing here with the 10 of Wands. And so perhaps out of the passage of legacy, in fact, we could have started, I suppose, with this. Let's start with that. We'll start with the 10 of Pentacles. We have the legacy that's been transferred here, as we talked about on Monday. And from there, he takes that information, the man takes the information that he's got, the all that he's learned, the lessons that he's learned from his father or father-in-law. And he gathers it all together, doesn't he? To prepare for the future. All these new opportunities, these new possibilities for a new path to open in balanced energy exchange with others. Because that's what this was. This was a balanced energy exchange between the two, between the older man and the children, as they walk through that archway into new experiences. Now that they're the ones that are taking the reins and running with it. Maybe he had a business and he passed it on to the son or the son-in-law or the daughter or daughter-in-law together. He passed that on to them. And it's interesting because we had on the 1st, we had Gebo and Fortuna Major. So, and also then on the 29th, that was last week, we had Othala and Conjunctio on Monday and Gebo and Fortuna Major on Thursday. So it seems to me then we had Othala again, and Cauda Draconis and the 10 of Pentacles, which again talks about our foundation and our material security and our inheritance and our possessions and all of that. That there's some kind of bringing something from the past, which then is divined by the 10 of Pentacles, which means the passage of legacy. So you could have inherited the family business or become in charge of the family business if dad didn't let go of it completely. He stepped back and now you're going to do it. You're going to take charge of the business. Or maybe he's just gifted it to you. And that, with Gebo, that could signal something like that. So a new path opens. Again, another 10 here. New beginnings, endings and beginnings with the 10. 9 is about endings. So theoretically, 10 it would reduce to 1, and 1 is new beginnings. One of the meanings of 1, of the numerology of 1. But then we have the 6 of Wands, where through that shared experience, that balanced energy exchange with other people, you have a shared victory, if you will. So shared success, shared opportunity, where everybody's walking alongside this either a nobleman of some kind or the king coming back from some kind of experience. We don't know what. You don't see any battle attire, so I don't know that there was a war of any kind or a battle of any kind, but some kind of maybe agreement between groups or something, between tribes, between different areas, that they came together and now they can have some kind of a shared experience, some kind of Gebo experience. So it would seem to me, so 6, 7, 8, that would be an 8 numerology for the cards. Again, that's material, well, it's leadership, but it's greater harmony, but it's also material recognition and approval. And almost that's what you have here with this card, where they're all going in the same direction. They're all following that same path to victory, to success. You see the wreath here and the wreath here, that's victory. And then you see his lovely white horse there looking at all of us, like saying, hi, look what we did. Green would be also not only abundance, but it would be money. So there was some kind of maybe financial thing that came out of all of this, where everybody gets to be elevated together a little bit instead of, just one person. But he is above everybody, so that would signify somebody that is maybe, like I say, the king or some lord of the manor, maybe, where they all get together, all the lords get together maybe and come up with some kind of thing where they can all benefit from it. But there's that sense of that new direction that they're going in together, that shared direction with this, and the victory of and again, with 6 staffs, again, with their little branches starting to form on there. It's opportunity that doesn't end. It's not fixed. In other words, it's still growing. It's still happening, and so the idea of branching out comes into mind. So I just think that, at least, let me go back another week before that. Well, we had Dagaz and Fortuna Minor to start us out on the 22nd, and on the 25th we had Hagalaz and Populus. So we had, again, the beginning of a new day that might bring some progressive success. Hagalaz on that Thursday was transformative, and Populus meant that you were maybe transforming into some kind of collaborative effort, maybe. We had mostly swords that time. We talking about dispassionate decisions there, but on the 22nd, a new day begins. But then on this last, or the Monday before the 29th, it was the decision that can impact material and physical security or to preserve shared traditions. And then the 1st of June was rebalancing perception, so you can then, not, because we had the 7 of Cups, and so maybe you're kind of deluding yourself. I'm getting pollen alerts on my phone. So I think that there's been, for like maybe the last few weeks, maybe the last month, I think that it's basically saying that there's a lot of shifting that's been going on to sort of get you on a better path, and I think today culminates with that. We'll see what happens next week, but if there's a little more about this, but there just seems to be a trend toward learning how to express yourself in the world in a way that reflects higher awareness. The integration you have with other people also is based on that. And when that happens, I think naturally a positive path opens. There's nothing to restrict it. In other words, the ego restricts, higher awareness invokes, basically. And so if you're looking at things that are constantly restricting you, then you first have to look, well, how am I seeing all of it? What's my perception behind all this? And how is that impacting my ability to succeed in life and to provide, additional financial security or material security for myself and my family. And I'm just assuming that there's a self and family here. Because we've had, the Ten of Pentacles more than once this week. But it's that passage of legacy, and legacy can involve any number of things. It can be an inheritance, it can be money, it can be property, it can be the experience you gain from a wise teacher. Say you have a job and that person's ready to retire, and you're going to be the one taking his place or her place, and now you're taking all that you've learned in that experience from that individual, whoever it is, and you're ready to then take what you've learned and then assume that top position. You're ready for it. And so the passage of that legacy, if you will, is a really positive experience for everyone. And then when you then embark on it, so we'll just go along that line. When you're ready to embark on that, the opportunities are there. And they're there in a way that are abundant, right? And are growing and will be growing even more, basically. And you can trust that process because you've learned from that person. You've learned what you need to know, even as well as from your own experience of it. You've learned from the advice and the mentoring and all of that, whether it's your boss or your employer, and you're gonna buy the business from them. They're retiring, or it's it's your parent, it's your father or your mother, where they're passing along a family business to you. But even if it's not that, maybe this person has been incredibly instrumental, whoever it is, in your life. Where you've gone to them for guidance, and you've taken that information, you've applied it to your experience, and you've learned a whole lot doing that, and now you're ready for these new opportunities. But it's the sense of something from someone else, the legacy that's passed, that's assisted you in doing that, or is now assisting you to do that, however it is. But the idea that when you express yourself from a higher state of awareness, all sorts of paths open for you. And because there's no ego restricting that process, essentially. So it's kind of interesting. I'm glad that I've been putting these, I have a little sticky note thing here on the screen, and it's interesting how you can see this pattern that develops. Sometimes there's no pattern at all. It's just all random, right? But occasionally it does. And I think that's what we've been getting here. Probably since the 22nd of May, and now here we are, the 8th of June. I think over this time, I think we're seeing maybe some building of a new path that can be opening based on all the experience we've gained, however we gained it, but here it's suggesting that, there's an individual involved that's doing the passing of the legacy onto you, which creates material recognition and approval. Because if this person didn't feel you could handle it, he wouldn't be passing it on to you, right? And so you've done your due diligence, and now you're ready to take all of that and begin your own path. Maybe we can say it like that. And when you do, you're going to be victorious for it. And you're going to recognize the people that helped you along the way or continue to help you along the way. And you understand that it's not simply all about you, that there's this shared aspect of this journey, even though we have Vaya that's suggesting that a new path is opening for you. Well, that's easy. Well, I mean, when you've been building toward it, it's kind of like, wow. But anyway, I guess that's it. That's all I've got. I don't think we need another card. I think it's pretty evident that this has been going on for a little while, and we're building towards some kind of new thing opening and new opportunities coming and expanding our horizons and to where we'll be successful. But again, it's that balanced energy exchange with others that is founded in higher awareness, in the soul's awareness, that will actually be what gets you where you need to go. Not allowing the ego to enter and creating a personal agenda out of it. There's still that gift of reciprocity that's part of Gebo. And and just the idea of that higher integration with other people. And it's when that happens, the sky's the limit, basically. So I guess that's it. Have a good weekend. And I'll be getting my tomatoes in today or tomorrow. We'll see. I have to see what the wind's going to be. I mean, they'll be in cages, so they should be okay. And they're kind of going to be in a sort of a sheltered area, so where there's a bit of a windbreak. But my husband's a little nervous, so we'll see what happens. But hopefully by the time I see you again on Monday, we'll have our tomatoes in and the garden will be on its own legs. Everything will be planted. And, my snow peas are coming up in one area. I planted for a third time. And when I did with my regular peas, I planted again. And as I was putting the dirt over the seeds, I saw some seeds that in fact had sprouted. So I'm probably going to get a lot of peas in that bed. And I have a rooster that loves them. So, he's addicted to peas. Anyway, thanks for watching. And check out the blog at Stepping Aside. The web address is imsteppingaside.com. You can click on more below the video and it'll open a box and it shows you there what the website address is. A lot of other stuff there too, other places I'm at on social media and whatnot. But I also write on Substack, Medium, and Patreon. If you want to follow me over there, any of those places as well, that's great. I'd love you to do that. And but again, I hope you click subscribe here and come back on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.